Hello, welcome back to the Diamonds and Rough podcast. I'm joined by Bobby. We're doing our weekly spread pick'ems. I guess as a group, we improved from last week, but it's tough to not improve when one of the people goes 0-3 as I did. But we got Philly, right, which was Bobby's ultimate lock. So that gets some praise because that's the one he's saying he would bet a lot of money on, and it did hit. So Bobby's looking at 2-4 as Pittsburgh and KC did not win. And I'm looking at 1-5, unfortunately, as Tampa Bay and KC did not win. I did text Bobby when 93% of the bets were on KC and the line was moving in favor of KC. I was like, Vegas knows. It's not looking good. At that moment, I knew it wasn't going to work, and that's what happened. And then Tampa Bay, honestly, I think I was just being an idiot. I probably should have thought about it. No Evans, Godwin, or Julio, asking a lot from Brady. And do you want to defend your Pittsburgh thing or no?
I expected them. I honestly thought their defense was going to be better. I think the Browns' offense with Brissett's not everything it should be once they get Watson. And I was expecting the defense to hold them down a bit more, even without TJ Watt. So that kind of let me down.
Yeah, well, they miss him for sure.
Definitely.
And then our games of the week, we predicted. You had Bucks Packers, which was boring as hell.
And it was a game of the week for a different reason. No one expected it to be that bad. So that's a reason that it was a spectacle. But yeah, no,
it was close, right? And they almost made the comeback at the end, forced to OT. I said Bills, Miami. I was at the Pats game, so I can't put anything into that. It just seemed like a mess.
It was good until like halfway through the fourth quarter.
So what was the best game? Because a lot of them stunk.
Yeah. Texans Bears was unironically kind of exciting.
All right, we'll take that.
We joked about betting tie, and it took a 0-second field goal for it not to be a tie and go to overtime. So
I think I joked about game of the week, and you told me no. After my Lions Commanders, you're like, I refuse.
Yeah, honestly, games all kind of sucked this week.
They did. Especially the primetime ones.
Yeah, definitely the primetime ones.
Especially the primetime
ones. Somebody tweet that Cowboys Giants was the worst game they'd seen since Niners Broncos the night before, and Niners Broncos was the worst game they'd seen since 1963.
I watched Niners Broncos. I refuse to watch Cowboys Giants.
Yeah, I don't watch if I have a player that I need to score a certain amount of points for fantasy in the Monday night game. I don't watch it because I'll be too worked up. I needed Saquon to get me 11 points. He came through. So that's all I cared about for that game.
I know in theory, since I put so much work into this and I, preach that I know my stuff and I talk about these teams, that I should have watched it, but I don't care.
I watch enough. I research enough the next day, but yeah, I don't. It's two teams I hate. Couldn't care less. CeeDee Lamb dropped an easy touchdown. That was a highlight that I saw. He also made a sick touchdown catch. So, I mean, you win some, you lose some for him, I guess.
I had another heartbreaker in fantasy because Saquon Barkley and Graham Gano got like 0.5 enough to beat me. So that was just fantastic.
Yeah.
We'll get into the spreads.
Yeah.
From my initial look, it is tough. It is not an easy week for these. So we'll see what we can do. But Thursday night game, potential game of the week, honestly. Cincinnati at home, favored by 3.5 versus Miami. I'm taking Miami just because I feel like Cincinnati did bounce back and they will do well. But Thursday nights are always weird. And I'm looking at it as Miami is 3-0 against the spread. Not even talking record. 3-0 against the spread. And they have all the confidence in the world. I know they're on the road, but they are getting points. So that's where I'm going with it.
I'm on the same side as you. I think the Dolphins probably win outright, but also cover if they lose. I could see it being a close game. But another tidbit, I think Thursday night games, it's not going to be as exciting as I think we're hoping.
Mm.
Thursday night games never are. I think I saw a stat. I think it said 90% of the time Thursday night games go under in terms of total points. So it's
So
usually
bet
just,
the under.
yeah, exactly. It's usually just it's a low scoring affair. Teams are coming off a short week. They're never correct up, and that's kind of why I think I'm okay with them having like Titans Jaguars every year and have the boring games on Thursday, because at least if there's one exciting play, it's an exciting play, but it's still going to be a low scoring affair.
Well, we're going to talk about the Jaguars a bit, I feel like, when they come up, because
Mhm.
impressive. But next game, Saints at home +2.5 versus Minnesota. I haven't decided my locks and stuff. I'm tempted to go Minnesota lock here simply because I can't bet on the Saints when Jameis just shouldn't even be walking, let alone playing football.
Yeah, I'm
It's
definitely on Vikings as well. I don't think it's a lock, though. I'm seeing some others that are better, but yeah, no, that's definitely he looks uncomfortable. It's bad. I feel bad for him. I don't think he should be playing, but he's a competitor and he wants to be out there.
yeah, I think coaches need to step in on some of these. There's 2 injuries, this one and Herbert, where the coach just needs to step in and go, "You're not playing."
Yeah, I mean so I'm heavily invested into Herbert, like him as a player. I like the Chargers, and I have Herbert on way too many fantasy teams. But so I was following that pretty closely, and they gave him the choice. The doctors came forward and said, "You probably shouldn't be playing. I think you should take a week off. It's a long season. It's only week 3. You should maybe just sit this one out." And he said, "All right, I hear you. I'm gonna play." So,
Yeah.
and he looked bad. He looked really bad.
Other than that one throw, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, he seems to have one of those in him per game, but
The
he also said he's
rollout,
better now. So we'll see.
he rolled out and threw it like 50 yards across his body to the center of the field. It was absurd.
Yeah.
All right, next game, Baltimore at home +3.5 versus Buffalo. I am simply defending my MVP pick here because this is an early game for who's going to be the MVP between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. I said Lamar's going to be MVP. I'm simply defending that, so I'm going Ravens, even though I'm not too confident with it.
All right. I think Allen. So it's a battle of who we both are probably thinking MVP wise. Yeah. I think Allen's going to win.
Definitely stay away.
Yeah, definitely don't bet it. I think this. I mean, I know we're not covering games of the week yet, but I think this could be probably the game of the week.
It's going to be mine.
Yeah.
I think you're just trying to be unique if you don't pick it, and you're just being dumb at that point. Like, even if it doesn't turn out to be game of the week, like you have to expect it to be.
Yeah.
2 super high scoring offenses going against each other, right? But next game, Atlanta at home +1.5 versus Cleveland. I don't think Cleveland's good. I'm not convinced that they are good. And Atlanta's just frisky, man. They are. And I don't know why, but I'm feeling Atlanta on this one, even though I feel like the spread favors Cleveland in terms of Cleveland has been able to get the job done, except for one game where they really choked, but able to get the wins, and the spread isn't big enough when you think Atlanta's one of the worst teams in the NFL.
I think this is disrespectful to the Browns. I think they, as much as I think they're going to get better when Watson returns to the team, I don't think they're necessarily a bad team now. Brissett's probably their weakest point, and the talent around him is good enough where as long as he can just get them the ball, they can make things happen. Chubb's going to run. Hunt's going to catch. Amari Cooper's proving that the Cowboys should not have traded him for a 3rd and 4th round pick. I think it's a disrespectful line. I think the Browns are probably going to win by a good amount.
AJ Terrell's going to lock up Amari Cooper.
Donovan People-Jones is pretty solid as well. And Njoku had a crazy game Thursday night.
He did have a crazy game. But
and Cordero Patterson, every other game is boom or bust. Boom this past weekend, bust this weekend.
Same bust this weekend. My thing with is Myles Garrett going to play? Probably not, right? I don't know if you know.
I've heard he's okay.
Well, I heard non-life-threatening injuries, which to me goes, okay, so they're bad injuries, but he's going to be okay.
I heard like scratches and bruises.
Okay, they need to like be a little more clear with like non-life-threatening injuries.
Yeah, no, I heard basically he legitimately walked out of the accident.
Okay, so it's like not it's an accident, but like it's not.
Yeah. I mean, did you see the car though? The car destroyed.
Oh
It's a
no.
miracle he
I
walked out.
mean, he is a car himself though.
Yeah.
So,
Wait, no, let me see
but
if I can. I don't know if you'll be able to get this on the broadcast. Maybe you can find the picture yourself, but there's a picture of him just sitting there.
all right, he's probably fine then. So I'm
Like
okay.
the car is totaled and he's just chilling.
His shirt's oh no, yeah, no, he's chilling.
Like the car, yeah, exactly. Like the shirt's ripped. He has some scratches and bruises on his arm. Look at the car though. The car was destroyed
Yeah.
and he walked out of it. So I'm hearing he's okay. I'm hearing he's gonna suit up.
Yeah, no, we'll probably be fine. I don't know why. I'm just feeling Atlanta on this one, honestly. But all right. Jacksonville is on the road. They're going to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is favored by -6.5.
So if you're not going to choose Bills Ravens as game of the week, I unironically think this is going to be a really good game. I think the Jaguars are proving that they can play football for the first time in 4 years. And Eagles, I mean, you want to add to the MVP conversation between between Allen and Jackson. I think Hurts is the third man. I think this is a game for him to prove that he really is legit after 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So as for my pick, I think the Eagles win, but I'm not necessarily sure they cover. So I'm going to take Jacksonville.
I am taking Jacksonville as well, just with the Hurts thing. The Alabama boys, you can also add Tua in there.
Mhm.
I think Tua and Hurts are proving they are legit. Up to you if you want to buy it or not. I've chosen to buy in. I think Hurts and Tua are like that. And this is me admitting I was wrong because I didn't think they were going to be this good.
I thought Hurts might be Tua. Jury's still out for me. I think
Fair.
I think you give almost any quarterback in the league the weapons around him, they're going to produce.
But that was the whole thing with Tua was he had no weapons, no O-line his whole career. Now you gave him both at the same
I
time.
get that
So
exactly, and that's why I mean that my whole argument. I don't trust any quarterback out of Alabama because they are used to playing with the best O line, the best wide receivers, and the best running backs in college, playing against 90% people who are not even going to make it to the NFL. And as soon as they get to the NFL, they look like busts because they are around people who are all of similar caliber, and they necessarily aren't on the best team.
I agree, but you're gonna put more teams in that category, right? Like Ohio State's got to be in there.
Yes, to an extent, they don't always have. I'm just saying Alabama because they, I think, year after year after year have the best recruiting class. Their fourth string running back, the year that they become starter as a senior, are first round, second round picks. The depth that Alabama goes is unrivaled for Ohio State, and I don't even think you can put Georgia because Stetson Bennett, everyone knows, is not going to be anything in the NFL.
Okay, yeah, but you still put Georgia in. Like Georgia doesn't produce quarterbacks. It's a similar thing of Notre Dame where they don't necessarily care who their quarterback is. They care about the rest of the guys, and then they'll have a guy who can throw in there, and it's fine.
No, and I get that, but for me, Alabama, their quarterbacks come out of college with hype and then come to the NFL and bust. Georgia and Ohio State don't really have that to the same degree. Ohio State, yes. Georgia, definitely not. When's the last quarterback that came out of Georgia that everyone's like, oh my God, like he's God. Like he's going to come out
Um,
and
I don't even know. I don't think there has
exactly.
been.
Like, I mean,
No, I'm
Georgia,
with you.
Alabama, it happens almost every year.
Yeah, I mean,
Go
that's
back,
all.
even look at like AJ McCarron.
Okay, was there hype for AJ McCarron?
There
Stop.
were, yeah, when he took over, I think it was when he got when he's on the Bengals, when Andy Dalton went down, he was a star. Everyone's like, oh my God, like this is gonna be like his Brady moment.
Hurts also, although he was an Alabama quarterback, he went to Oklahoma. It's a little different because I
Yeah,
think
and
Oklahoma's kind of like I trust them.
Oklahoma's a quarterback factor. I mean
Yeah,
the coach there, Lincoln Riley, I think has the best quarterback program in the league.
yeah. But that's enough about college. back to just with Jacksonville. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is better when he has a good coach. To
And good
everyone.
players around him. Christian Kirk proving that last year wasn't a fluke.
Yeah, Christian Kirk's a solid player. I also would
Looked like he's
not.
worth the money, which I did not think he would be.
He's not worth 21 million. I don't think those guys are worth that much, but what I always said was although it's an overpay, you can't deny they're getting a great wide receiver.
Mhm.
That was my whole thing. I think it's tough for any player to be like, yeah, my 21 million is worth it. I think that's just a tough thing to do, but
Yeah,
Lawrence is showing like I thought would happen once you
I
give him a
think
real coach, some weapons. I'm not going to act like he has the best weapons. Like Kirk's good, but let's not act like Zay Jones is a real amazing wide receiver too. Like he's good, he's solid, but he's looking very good. They trounced the Chargers, which
doesn't surprise
asterisks
me,
because
honestly. Yeah.
Herbert was hurt. Chargers also have an issue where their Slater's out for the year.
Slater's out for the year. Uh, Jalen Guyton tore his ACL. Keenan Allen's trying to work his way back from an injury. They got hit hard this year already with the injuries.
Yes. But yeah, I'm going Jacksonville because I think they could win this game. They to me are a good football team, and they could definitely win the AFC South because it's not a great division, and they look the best by far. They look the most complete. Coaching doesn't look like it's not good at all. It looks like it's maybe one of the better coaching staffs in the league. So
Yeah.
shout out to Jacksonville. Congratulations. It's it's been a bit for them, to actually have a good team. And it was also probably scary when it's like you take your number one pick and he looks bad and you're like, what the heck? Everyone agreed he was like a guaranteed Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But he's looking like he's back on track to where we thought he'd be. So next, Houston at home versus the Chargers. Houston gets 4.5. So Houston plus 4.5 at home. I'm sticking with what I've said, man. Houston is not, they refuse to win games. They really don't want to win games. They're doing everything in their power to not win games because they've had the Colts game, which was very winnable for them. Very winnable. The Broncos game was winnable for them. They sort of choked it. And then you played the Bears, and again, it didn't seem like they made too much of an effort to win that game.
They were up 20-7. They made zero effort to win that game.
So I know the Chargers, we just talked about, have their issues. They're starting left tackle, who's a Pro Bowler, out for the year. Keenan Allen has his injuries. Herbert clearly hurt, and he lost one of his weapons. I'm still going to go the Chargers simply because I know Houston, like they just don't want to win in my mind.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to go Chargers. Texans don't want to win so much to the point where I think you put you or me out in quarterback, give Herbert the week off, and we still just hand the ball off 50 times and we come out with the win.
Like we they might be down 20-0. They might be down 20-0. And then, Houston GM calls in like, we need CJ Stroud, like stop or something. I don't know. But
I mean, did you see the Jimmy G play from Sunday night? Stepping out
safety. Yeah.
Like, that's the type of shit that I expect from Houston.
Yeah.
Best part about that play, side note, is how if it hadn't been a safety, he threw a pick six instead. So I guess he saved them, but brutal. But
Jimmy G is I still think he's the better option for the San Fran team right now than Trey Lance, but he's still working through that shoulder injury that he tried to recover. Yeah. He has not had any sort of training camp or any timing with the guys. So I get a little annoyed that he's getting destroyed when it's like, I don't think there's many quarterbacks that could have the offseason he had and jump in and be super successful.
I agree.
But clearly he's aging. And
in the same way, I think that's part of the reason that Brady's struggling early on. Him taking the 2 weeks in the middle for personal reason, him taking every Wednesday off. I don't think it's a surprise that he's not doing great. I also think that he's used to all of his years in New England where Bill Belichick would treat the first 4 weeks of the season as extended training camp. So he will come online by probably like week 6. So I think Jimmy G needs some time, and I think not that he's Tom Brady, but I think he'll be fine.
I think that's a very good point that you made there. I just want to say I am doing a podcast debating my friend because we've had Jimmy G debates since freshman year of college. So we're gonna have another debate, and I will get a lot more in depth with that stuff. But I have such an issue with the 49ers offense. I think it's horrendous. Every single play they run, it's like it's first and goal, or like fourth and goal, I should say. Like there aren't routes further than 10 yards. And it's like, are we playing Pop Warner football? What's going on? So, but moving on, try to speed up some of these. Pittsburgh home, -3.5 versus the Jets. God, just an ugly game.
Give me the Jets. Honestly, they've looked good, and honestly, they've looked so good that I think when Zach Wilson comes back, they could be a pretty decent team. Like, I'm not saying like even 500, but I think they'll make it. They'll score. They don't have the defense yet. I think Sauce Gardner needs to kind of get a bit more used to NFL, but they're okay. Their offense is at least viable.
That's simple. The only reason I'm going Jets is because I know they can put up points.
Exactly.
Even if like last week it was 12, like they were moving the ball, and I don't know. Whenever it's these kinds of games, man, where it's like I don't even know who's gonna win, I tend to go points, especially early in the season when we don't really have a read on the games and stuff. Tend to go points just because I don't have a good grasp of the season, as what you can see from my picks. Haven't been doing well, but next game, our Detroit Lions at home, -5.5 versus Seattle. You know where I'm going, man. It's Detroit.
Oh, you gotta go with the Lions.
It's Detroit all day. They've surprised so many people, including myself. I was not a believer before, and I don't even know what I mean when I say believer. Like, I don't know what that means, but I'm a believer, so just accept it. Detroit's offense.
They're going. They were the second worst team in the league last year. They aren't that this year. They're still bottom half, but they're better.
Their offense is legit.
Yeah, I mean, Amon-Ra had that scary injury with his ankle and knee. He's supposedly okay, worth looking into, but you got to think that this team isn't going to win more than probably like 4 or 5 games still. That quarterback class is loaded. Give someone better than Jared Goff, and they should be pretty good.
Swift is also injured.
Yep.
Something to note.
They have a good backup running back, though. Jamal Williams is one of the better, I'd say, top half backup running backs in the league.
Jamal Williams is a starter. And he's your RB2.
Yeah.
And Seattle's just bad, man.
Yes, they are.
They're just bad. So
Geno Smith's trying, but everyone knows that they're just playing for next year's quarterbacks as well.
Yeah. Indianapolis -3.5 at home versus Tennessee.
This
I really
is worse than the
Jets
Steelers game.
I don't.
Titans, I guess.
I don't know, because like, first off, it definitely doesn't help that I don't have a good grasp of how last week's games went because I was at the Patriots game.
The Colts, everyone said Matt Ryan is so much better than Carson Wentz. They look lost. They look like they don't know how to use Jonathan Taylor. I don't care that they won. The Chiefs shot themselves in the foot more than the Colts won that game. Jonathan Taylor is being underutilized. How do you underutilize a guy who rushed for, I think it was 1,400 yards and like 20 total touchdowns? How do you do that? So that's frustrating, not only from a football standpoint, but also obviously from a fantasy standpoint. But the Titans are looking okay. Treylon Burks is looking better, more like the guy they thought he was going to be. Derrick Henry, he's aging. I still don't think your bet's going to hit, but
he had a decent game last game.
Yeah, I mean, 85 yards and a touchdown.
He also had like
active in
a good amount of he had a good amount of receiving yards.
Yeah, he had 5 catches for 58 yards, which is unheard of for him.
Yeah.
So
I have to make a pick here. Yeah, I'm gonna go points. I'll go Tennessee. I don't know. I really don't know. Like, it's a do or die essentially for both of them in terms of getting in the playoffs, because Neither of them will have a good enough record for the wild card. They would have to hope they have a better record than Jacksonville. And, it's a division game, so they both need it. I guess the way I look at it, if I was to try to reason it to myself, I'd stay away first off anyone betting. But the Titans kind of know their identity more than the Colts do. So
Agreed.
that's, I guess, how I'll reason it to myself. Dallas at home, -3.5 versus Washington. I am going to go Dallas, I think.
Yeah.
The Dallas defense is actually solid. Micah Parsons, DPOY candidate, Trayvon Diggs, for all the crap he's been getting in last year and the offseason, much better cover corner. Clear strides have been made by Trayvon Diggs. I think he is actually a number one corner. You really disagree with that?
Yes. He gets burnt too much. He goes for the pick. He keeps his name in the news and keeps himself relevant by getting interception, but he goes for the interception. And when he doesn't, it looks bad.
Jamar Chase did nothing when he was matched up against him.
Jamar Chase also does nothing any given week lately.
So you don't value that he shut down Jamar Chase?
Not really. I value much more what Jeff Okuda has been doing for the Lions, locking down people 3 straight weeks.
Yes, Jeff Okuda is looking better than Trayvon Diggs, but Jamar Chase, seen by many as a top 5 wide receiver.
Not this year. Not so far, at least.
So week 1 was bad by him.
Week 1 was good. The rest, he's had
There's been 3 weeks. There's been 3 weeks.
Okay, 33%. That's a failing grade.
Oh my God. I don't know how you can go. Yeah, he did well against this premier wide receiver who might be struggling a bit. Doesn't really mean anything. That's crazy to me. Okay, but what are you going? Dallas or Washington?
I'm going Dallas. Give me
Yeah.
Cooper Rush.
Yeah, 3-0, right?
Yeah, he's better. He's better than Dak Prescott at this point. Dak Prescott.
Dak might play, apparently.
Yeah, he's coming back soon.
But I think they should roll with Cooper until he loses, honestly. But Carolina at home, -1.5 versus Arizona. Carolina's been playing well.
Baker's he's doing his best Jimmy G impression. He is a game manager, which I've been saying for his entire career.
Stop.
He is a game manager. He's
a game manager, yet you were acting like he was so good when you talked to me about him.
No, I was not saying he was so good.
Yes.
I was saying that he wasn't being treated fairly. There's a difference. He's rarely going to lose you games, but he's also not going to win you games.
Oh yeah, I've never heard anyone speak so highly of someone being like, he's a game manager.
He is. Look, he's had elite running backs behind him his entire career. All he needs to do is make 10, 15 throws a game, completions on 20 to 30. If he throws 50% and his running backs are good, that's all he needs.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying the way we've talked about Baker Mayfield when we've debated each other off podcast, I never got the impression from you he's a game manager. You were like, Baker's good. And I was assuming good was a top 10 quarterback, but you're no, game manager.
No. He's a good game manager. I stand by that.
I just can't buy that. No.
Also, on that same token, give me Arizona.
Yeah, I'm going Arizona too.
I think it's disrespectful to Carolina. Baker is still trying to figure out how to use Christian McCaffrey, which I think is something that needs getting used to. He's been, for all 4 years he was in Cleveland, he had Chubb, who he handed off to, and Hunt that he threw to. Now he has one dude that does both, and I think it's just confusing to him.
I mean, McCaffrey got more of a workload. He got 25 rushing attempts.
Yep, but he's not getting targeted, which is concerning. He's the best pass catching back in the league, and he has no targets.
Exactly. with Arizona, it's not double XP weekend in Call of Duty, so Kyler should be ready to play. Arizona also has this thing where it doesn't matter how much they're down, like they'll come back almost essentially. So in terms of someone who's betting spreads, that's kind of an intriguing thing.
1.5's where it's small enough where it doesn't matter as much, but it still is worth noting.
Yeah. But yeah, Carolina being favored. I know they've been playing well. The teams they've also been playing well, right? They played the Browns week 1. Not a big Browns guy. Who they play week 2?
Giants.
I don't care. They're 2-1. They're bad. And then last week, Saints with Winston, who
Saints still have a good defense though, and they were able to move the ball, and
they didn't score that much though.
Scored 22. I mean, they had a fumble, a scoop and score.
So they scored 15.
Their defense has looked good though.
No, I agree.
They have a really good front seven. I think that's worth noting.
I also think this is the best offense they're going to play against by far.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be a test for them. So I mean, I could see it being a close game. We'll see.
You know what? I'm going to make it one of my locks. Not my lock of locks, but Arizona is going to be one of my locks.
Okay.
I just don't know. Las Vegas at home, favored -2.5 versus Denver. So we're going with the team that hasn't won a game. They're getting favored. And I'm tempted to make it a lock because it is Las Vegas, the place that makes the betting odds. And it's a little fishy to me that they have them favored when they haven't won a game.
Yeah, this is my lock of locks. I'm putting Broncos +2.5. Like, this is stupid. The Raiders look broken. Mac Hollins is their best receiver on a team that has Devontae Adams. Like, what happened to the Fresno State connection? I don't know, but the Broncos can't score. The Raiders can't score less.
Yep.
I guess can't score more, ironically. But no, the Broncos, I think, is all trying to come together. It's a new quarterback with a rookie head coach who's an absolute moron, but he, I think, is going to slowly figure out, or Russ is just going to start not listening to him and calling his own plays, because I think he's smart enough to do that with the talent around him. So, no, I think the Broncos are too good for that. That's disrespectful.
Yeah. So I'm going Vegas. And there is no football mind behind this. This is me simply confused by the line and thinking something has to be going on. They must know something.
Interesting.
Because this happens with Vegas all the time.
Oh, 100%. I could totally see.
Literally last week, 93% of the bets are on KC. Yet, when more people bet on a team, the spread usually goes up. This went the other way.
Yeah.
Why was it going the other way? They were enticing people to bet on KC more and more because they just knew the Colts were going to win. It didn't make sense. Okay. Green Bay at home, -10.5 versus New England. It's got to be Green Bay.
10.5's a lot.
Dude. Make your case, man.
Pat's defense hasn't looked bad. Green Bay's offense has. They don't have a wide receiver I'm scared of. Their running backs are pretty good, but New England seems to be doing well limiting rush yards, unless your name's Lamar Jackson, but it's always harder to account for a mobile quarterback. 10.5's a lot. I could see this game being like 17-7. That's a cover.
I'm definitely not betting on it.
Oh, same.
Because, Green Bay has not convinced me that they can score enough for like a 10.5 spread, right?
Exactly.
I just simply, I don't even like the max points I can see New England scoring is like 2 field goals, 6. Like, I just don't, which is sad that I can't go, I think Green Bay can score 17. In my mind, I cannot convince myself that is going to happen. But it's also at Lambeau. And if you're going New England spread, you are going in understanding they're losing.
Yes.
I don't see a world where they win.
Green Bay has looked bad.
So then you're just hoping points. I know
Yeah.
they look bad and their wide receivers aren't great, and New England's corners have been great. And New England's defense just has been pretty good, but
New England's defense could score more points than the offense.
they could.
And that could help the cover. I don't know.
Special teams too.
I think it's going to be a boring game. I'm not looking forward to watching it.
but we're going to watch it.
I don't know. I might just throw on Red Zone.
Bobby.
It's 4:00. I'll watch it. I'll watch some of it. I don't watch Patriots games.
Oh my god! Why don't you watch Patriots games?
Because this team pisses me off.
Moving on.
I'm a Patriots fan. Don't like watching them.
Not this year, I guess.
Belichick not getting receivers pisses me off, and now Mac's ankle got bent into a C. So can't believe that shit didn't break.
Tampa Bay is home plus 2.5 versus Kansas City. Mike Evans will be back. I don't know about Godwin or Julio. Haven't heard anything.
Julio is a game time decision, and if he doesn't suffer any setbacks, I'm going to assume he plays.
So I'm going to go with Tampa Bay on this because I know that defense is legit.
Mm-hmm.
And Brady now just getting, even if it is only Evans, one more weapon is huge to me.
He can do a lot with one receiver.
And I do think he's getting better as the weeks go. Like, to me, he was good on Sunday. It was just simply he couldn't do anything because no one was open. You know, that I do get annoyed sometimes when people look at stats and they go, oh, we went this for this. It's like his completion percentage was pretty high. Yeah, he wasn't getting a ton of yards. It's because
Russell Gage was his top receiver. That's not great.
Not great. Even what's his face? Matt Ryan last year didn't have to deal with Russell Gage as his best receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or did he? I feel like there was another guy.
Kyle Pitts was his top receiver in theory.
So I'm not worried about Brady. Plus, like, being at home and getting points. Like, the Chiefs were kind of. I mean, I do think the Chiefs will come back firing like last time, but it's clearly a little worrisome, the Chiefs' weapons from last week. It seemed like they needed guys, but they're not getting guys. That's just their guys. So
Sky Moore needs to become who everyone was hoping he'd be in the preseason. I mean, he's now in the doghouse after muffing a punt. So, but
good point.
I have the Bucks as well. Like I said, I think Brady gets better as the season goes forward. Getting Evans back, he can do a lot with one receiver. He's proved that his whole career. I think it'll be a fun game. I think it should be entertaining. So
then the Monday night game, San Francisco -2.5 at home versus the Rams.
Disrespectful. Absolutely 100%.
It's gotta be. Is this a lock for you?
Yes, I'm sorry. I meant to say the Bucks are a lock as well.
Oh, Bucks are a lock as well for you.
Yes, and then Rams 100% lock as well.
The Rams are a lock for me as well. I don't think you can look at that Sunday night game and go, I still think the 49ers will get. They'll improve, but I'm also seeing that the Rams are improving as they go. I think they just had a case a bit of like shell shock because Buffalo was just so ready. So ready.
The world.
So ready week one. And they almost choked Atlanta, but they played well last week.
Exactly. I'm betting on them to score the points. I don't think they'll win by a lot necessarily, but I think they'll score.
Yeah.
So that being plus is enough for me to think that they'll win. And Cooper Kupp's not going to go for 40 yards again. That was weird. The whole game against Arizona was weird and boring.
But they got it done.
They did.
So you have Broncos as your lock of locks.
Yep.
And you got Bucks and Rams.
Yes.
I have Arizona. I have the Rams. I need a lock of locks. And I just don't see any, to be honest. I'm going to go what I said originally. I'm going to go Minnesota.
All right.
Now, I already know this is a terrible decision because Minnesota has been known to absolutely ruin whenever people put faith into them.
They're also playing in London, I believe.
That is true. That's definitely true.
Yeah.
I'm going Minnesota.
Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Game of the week, we're both going Bills Ravens.
Yes, and if I just want to be different, to not have a same one so people can be excited for a different game, Jaguars Eagles.
Okay. I'm going to put you down for Bills Ravens, but just because. But we can shout out Jaguars Eagles. And I also think not to say this will be a good game necessarily, but Titans Indianapolis has a lot of implications. I know it's early in the year, but it has a lot of implications. And then hopefully you get a good Sunday night game in KC Tampa. But
can't be worse than this Sunday.
So to finalize what we have, and I think we're still on the don't pick any of these. I think we're still trying to figure out the teams.
I have more confidence in these than I have for the last few weeks, which probably doesn't mean anything.
This is the lowest confidence I've been, honestly. I think a lot of these, I can definitely see it going either way. That's why I have Minnesota -2.5. Neutral site, I guess we can say, since it's in London. So it's a neutral site. It's an early game. They're going against the Saints with Jameis Winston not being able to walk, essentially. Then I got Arizona, who's +1.5 over Carolina, and the Rams, who are +2.5 versus San Francisco. Bobby has the Broncos as his lock of locks, +2.5 at Vegas. He has Bucks +2.5 home versus KC. He has Rams +2.5. +2.5. Bobby's going with the +2.5s. Any final words?
We just got to keep getting better. We can't keep having one win.
We do got to get better. Well, that's my first one, So
I'm consistent.
You're consistent. Hopefully we get some improvements so we can kind of make these, and people aren't just like, why am I even listening to this? Because these guys just aren't confident in what they're saying. But see how we do. Hopefully some improvements. Bobby, thanks for joining. See you next week when we do this. And listeners, thank you for listening to us guess, essentially, what we think is going to happen. And hopefully we'll have a better idea, and then you can actually listen to us and make some money, maybe. Who knows? But tune in next week for more spreads. Thanks.